Day 75 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I'm not a self-help guru. Come on, guys. I'm just trying to help myself. Confession time. I spent all of my therapy session yesterday, 45 effing minutes, talking about the Trump administration. I'm telling you the truth, and it was a waste. Obviously, this issue has come up in therapy before because there is an emotional impact of living life as a citizen of the United States underneath the Trump administration, and you have to kind of wonder what people think about it. And why would I want to think about what my therapist thinks about it? Because obviously a therapist is not going to get into a political discussion because that's not what you're supposed to be there for. It's like walking up to the counter at the P and being like, hey, before you make me this Asiago steak sandwich or whatever the hell it is, what did I order here? Some egg and avocado sandwich one morning because I had a discount code, and damn, highly recommended. It's like walking up here at the P and trying to have a political conversation with the barista or the person on the counter. That's not appropriate. So obviously, when I brought this up and persisted, my therapist kept saying to me that maybe I was just too emotional about it, and maybe we should just see what happens. And frankly, he said all the things that I say on here every day. And I even admit to him anytime this comes up, and it's not every week because usually I'm doing actual work that needs to get done that has nothing to do with ignoring the Trump administration. In fact, I do a great job of ignoring the Trump administration while I am in those therapy sessions. But every once in a while, if that Thursday rolls around, right when some things are happening, like my meager savings being depleted because it's invested in mutual funds, well, then I'm going to bring it up. So he kept trying to steer it back to, Josh, this is having an emotional impact on you. Why don't we just talk about that? But I persisted because I just wanted to have an argument. And I admitted to it, baby. I said, oh, I'm just trying to bully you basically into taking a position on this. And he has admitted yesterday and before he does not believe Donald Trump is a good person. He believes he's a narcissist. He believes that he has an extremely flawed character, but he's not going to get into hypotheticals with me. And I think that is a professional position to take, but that is also the righteous position to take when you are trying to be a person that is trying to ignore the Trump administration.
I've joked with the therapist that he's going to make a fortune during these next 4 years with these therapy sessions because this guy is going to drive everyone crazy. I would really appreciate it if anyone who sees this would like to leave a comment about their personal situation in a therapeutic environment trying to deal with this Trump administration, because I definitely find it a challenge to not bring it up when it is so goddamn pervasive in our lives. I'm doing a great job of ignoring it. That's what I'm on here talking about every day. But that is a challenge, and that's what I'm talking about too, taking that challenge and trying to reclaim my mind and regain the time that I would normally put into keeping myself informed about this stuff. It is a challenge, and great, they're going to take away Medicaid, so forget it.
Day 76 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I'm not a self-help guru, dummy. I'm just trying to help myself. This series could have just as well been titled 1,461 Days of Don't Give a Fuck About the Trump Administration. Reminding myself not to give a fuck is a hallmark of my entire life. I care too much about too many little annoyances. Now, I realize that the Trump administration is not the same as a dude who pulls out in front of me in traffic, or people who watch videos on their phone in public with the speaker on blast, or people who don't know when to use your or your. These are little complaints that I have throughout my day that I allow to have an impact on the quality of my life. I know that the Trump administration, or at the very least not ignoring the Trump administration and the constant flow of information about the Trump administration, is more significant. But it still has an impact, and it is still out of my control. How much I let what is not in my control have an impact on my life is in my control. There are things we all can do in terms of speaking up, in terms of protesting, in terms of making sure that we are contributing to making the world a better place. But beyond that, I continue to believe in the concept of thinking globally and acting locally. Acting locally to me starts with being able to connect in positive ways with the people around me who may be having a more difficult time dealing with the stress created by the Trump administration than I am. It's funny because these people are likely less reactive to the little ridiculous examples I gave above. In fact, while I am writing this, I can see a woman in front of me laying down in the restaurant booth. It's pissing me off, but no one else seems to care. I need to learn a lesson from that. I detail my mania on Substack. Feel free to subscribe. I am a very observant person, and when I say observant, I mean too observant. I see every little bit of people's behavior, and I find ways to be annoyed by it. I am being honest by telling you this, which is a personal point of growth, but I am also laughing about it and acknowledging that I want to get better at not giving a fuck about these triggers. I also want to get better at not giving a fuck about the Trump administration. Day 77 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. My name is Josh Bloom, and I'm just trying to help myself. Speaking of helping myself, day 77. Seven's supposed to be a lucky number, right? Okay, I'm feeling a little optimistic, but this morning I was looking at a friend's social media profile, and I found myself starting to try to see through their armor in that photo. I tried to tell myself a story about how they're doing, and maybe they're not doing so well, and I'm not doing so well, so at least they're not doing so well too. And have you ever felt this way? Please tell me in the comments that I am not alone, because that is what I was feeling this morning. I was feeling alone and looking for some kind of comfort, like, well, they're not doing well. And I had to ask myself, like, Josh, why wouldn't you be looking to see if they are doing well? I mean, no matter how you slice it, it's still a story. I didn't call the dude up and say, like, how are you actually doing? I saw this photo. I would like to know, like, a status of your life so I could compare it to my life. It says to me that I am not focused on what I need to do to make myself feel good. We cannot feel good by trying to compare our lives to others, and we cannot feel good by looking at news information 24 hours a day to try to see if the Trump administration is doing well or not. Meaning, our lives and our happiness and our comfort and our joy and prosperity is not going to be decided by what goes on in that goddamn Trump administration, no matter how much we look at it. Like, yes, there are consequences to actions. Like, for instance, if my friend called me up and said, hey, I just wanted you to know that I think you're a big dork and I hate you, well, then that is a consequence of my friend's behavior that has an impact on my life. But he's not doing that. I'm trying to get information from a photo of just someone standing against a wall. And it really only reflects on my personal state of mind and reminds me that I am supposed to be concentrating on one, not taking in information, be it news about the Trump administration or news about my friend standing against the wall. Because if that information is having a negative impact on my life and taking up too much of my time and energy, well, that is not what we're here to do, because, too, we're supposed to be using that reclaimed time and that regained mind to do positive things in the world and to do positive things for ourselves. So it was a great reminder on day 77, lucky day 77, that my attention needs to be in myself and not the Trump administration. Day 78 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. I'm just trying to help myself. Is going out to eat seeming less likely today? Please confide in the comments. Even if you are ignoring the Trump administration, it is unlikely that you are ignoring your finances. Our finances aren't something that can be ignored unless we are so wealthy that it is someone else's job to pay attention to them, and that is not me, baby. You know what, though? Even though it feels like we are being forced to live through stress and uncertainty spearheaded by one man, and that is essentially what it is, this moment in history is bigger than the Trump administration and the world's most irritating person, aka the leader of the Trump administration. This is about life's tests. Life's tests that every single one of us go through, even the ones of us who are completely out to lunch. Because even when someone is out to lunch, they're dealing with the unique set of life's tests that apply to people who are out to lunch. Even psychotic people have to deal with whatever it is in the way of them just getting to be psychotic. During this historic moment of harm inflicted by the person whose job it normally would be to not inflict harm, I won't give in to despair, and I won't give in to spending the time I have in this perception of consciousness contributing to a never-ending cycle of information consumption in the hope that somehow I will receive the nugget of news that will make everything okay. That news is not coming. We need to make our own news, create experiences and memories in our personal lives that are worth reporting to the ones we love. Please comment about something great that's going on in your life. Look, we all have the option to freak out whenever we want. Who knows? I may be freaking out in my mind right now and only appearing to hold it together. I'm not, though, and I hope you aren't either. But letting off steam so that the pressure cooker doesn't explode is needed. When you open that thing up and take out a juicy cut of meat that was cheap but made better because of how you cooked it, pull that bad boy apart and set the table to enjoy with your family and friends at home. Don't go out to lunch and keep on ignoring the Trump administration. Day 79 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I'm not a self-help guru. Hello, I'm Josh. I'm just trying to help myself. Ignoring day 79. Yes, that is the Smashing Pumpkins. If you are Gen X and loved that song, please let me know in the comments. When I first started doing this series, the posts that I would make on that other platform that is a tube for you would receive comments that would often be filtered to a great degree because that platform does not automatically post comments that are particularly vicious, and these comments were particularly vicious. Over the last 79 days of ignoring the Trump administration, I have noticed that while these videos continue to be viewed, the vicious comments seem to have died down. I take this to mean that anyone out there who might be human and not a Russian bot or employee of the electric car guy is likely contemplating why they would be leaving a vicious comment when it is very possible that what I am saying might be something that they have actually started to agree with. If you are a real person and you can't stand the electric car guy's toy truck, please leave a comment. The thing is, what I am saying here for the last 79 days of ignoring the Trump administration is not meant to deter fans of the Trump administration and the followers and subordinates of the leader of the Trump administration. It is not meant to deter them from their chosen path because I do not think that is a constructive use of my time and energy. I am here to try and connect with other people like myself who are dealing with feelings of overwhelming uncertainty that negatively affect our ability to stay optimistic during this time because we are obsessing about the potential consequences of the behavior of elected officials and otherwise who seem to have little concern for our well-being. In case you didn't figure it out, these people I am referring to are members of the Trump administration. Many people are wondering what they can control in regard to their future. I am sure there are some supporters of the Trump administration who are thinking and feeling these same things, and instead of confiding that they are dealing with that, they lash out at little old me. But if they would like to, I invite them to leave a comment that will not get filtered. And I also invite them to ignore the Trump administration.
It's hard to ignore, but I'm here for it. Well, it is hard to ignore. I'm very proud of you for being here for it. I am trying to be here for it too. It's still quite early in this process. I wanted to point out, however, that on the Tube of Views, this particular video about people who comment on these videos on the Tube of Views is getting many more views than usual, and still the commenters are quite quiet. There were a couple who tried to pipe up with using the word copium, which is a thing, I guess. It makes them feel like, I'm going to get you with that one. I'm going to get you. I'm not gotten. I feel like we're all gotten, and more gotten than us is them, because it's coming for them in a way that they didn't expect when they pulled that little lever or checked that little box for that motherfucker.
Day 80 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. I'm just trying to help myself. I went to the dentist today, and it reminds me of what I was telling you about last Friday about wasting my entire therapy session digging into my therapist's political leanings instead of digging into why I needed to spend my therapy session discussing a topic that has nothing to do with therapy. It's the same situation with dentistry. Why would I bring up politics with my dentist? She would say, I don't think you knowing about what I think politically has anything to do with your mouth. In fact, I'm someone that you probably don't want to have a conversation like that with, because if it does make me feel some kind of way, I am going to be in your mouth in a moment. So it's a good reminder, since I have another therapy appointment tomorrow and I don't want to waste it again. Another thing that's worth sharing with you today, I just heard on the Penn Sunday School podcast. If you know who Penn is, you probably know him as one half of the magic duo Penn and Teller. Penn is the big one who talks. I've been a follower of Penn's since I was a teenager. Politically, he used to be a libertarian, but isn't anymore, and voted for Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, and I assume Kamala Harris. Penn was the runner-up on The Celebrity Apprentice. He was clearly robbed of the win, and he hates the leader of the Trump administration, who he says has hair that looks like cotton candy made of piss. Today, Penn mentioned a conversation he had this week with the economist Jonathan Rauch. Here's a short clip that I found funny, but also not so funny.
He said this off air, and I probably shouldn't quote it, but I'm going to. After we were off air, we talked a little bit. So I said to him, what's going on with politics? And he said, I can't quote him word for word, but it made me laugh so much. He said, well, I'm always optimistic. I think we can overcome anything, and I feel really good about everything. And my whole life, I've been optimistic, and I think we're fucked.
I am also a very optimistic person. I don't know how humorous Penn's being by saying we're fucked. I don't feel like we're fucked. I am optimistic. The reason I don't feel like we're fucked is because humanity and society has survived so much. And hopefully the Trump administration is just our turn to survive. And when we do, it will ultimately make us stronger. All self-inflicted human tragedies throughout history were perpetrated by the leader of a movement. And the leader of this movement, like all others, will eventually be defeated, but not without a lot of soul-searching, personal error correction, and societal shifts. So let's just keep on flossing and brushing and ignoring the Trump administration. Day 81 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. I'm just trying to help myself. Have you ever left a comment on a TikTok and the comment went viral? Leave a comment and tell me. Maybe your comment will go viral. If this has happened to you, then you know that when it does, you'll keep getting notifications forever every time that comment gets a like. One of my favorite artists of all time is Prince, and on some days, he is my favorite artist of all time. Not only do I love and admire his music, his talent, and his artistry in general, But unlike the leader of the Trump administration, I also am in awe of his work ethic. The algorithm feeds me Prince videos a lot, and a recent one of a high-energy live performance of the song Baby I'm a Star prompted me to comment. Bro didn't waste 1 second of his time on Earth. Every time I get a notification that this comment has been liked, it reminds me of what I'm talking about here on day 81 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. Even in death, Prince works harder than me. But even so, I am trying to use every waking moment I can to be productive, become a better version of myself, and lift up those around me and in my life who might need some perspective these days. At the same time, these notifications also remind me of what I am trying not to do on day 81 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. There is so much news and information flooding the zone, as nefarious supporters of the Trump administration like to call their distraction techniques. It can seem as if we are always meant to be on alert and responding when there really isn't anything to learn or respond to. The constant reporting supports the careers of the reporters, and our reaction to the news supports the careers of the bad actors making it. This isn't news. It's just another like on a comment. Leaving the comment was a proactive act. Being alerted each time it gets a like is a distraction. Would Prince ever let his work ethic be disrupted by the leader of the Trump administration and the sycophantic members of the Trump administration that kowtow to him? No, he would not. He would tell them to go jump in Lake Minnetonka. I would die for you to leave a comment. Leave 1999 comments if you like. Meanwhile, let's go crazy and ignore the Trump administration.